Your raincoat is not going away anytime soon. In fact, what is coming this week could bring the wettest 7 days Britain has seen all year. Are you prepared for what is about to hit? Right now, as you are watching this, rain is hammering down across England and Wales. But here is what the models are not telling you yet. This is not just another rainy week. We are looking at multiple flood events, marginal snow battles, and a dramatic cold plunge that could bring snow to areas that have not seen it all winter. Stay with me for the next 30 seconds because I am going to reveal which cities will see the heaviest rainfall in the next 48 hours and why your Friday commute could be the worst one this month. At this moment, live radar shows heavy rain across much of England and Wales. Temperatures are sitting at 10 degrees Celsius across the far south, but look north. Scotland is seeing snow falling to nearly all levels inland. The Pennines are getting hammered. Even the Peak District is seeing snow. And this is just the beginning. Here is your first reward. The cities getting hit hardest in the next 48 hours are Manchester, Leeds, Sheffield, Birmingham, Bristol, Cardiff, and Belfast. If you live in any of these areas, the next 6 hours are critical. Let me tell you exactly when this hits your area. For London and the southeast, heavy rain continues through this evening until 9 p.m. tomorrow night. You are looking at 20 to 30 millimeters, but here is the twist. The ground is already saturated. That means localized flooding is almost certain in low-lying areas. For Birmingham and the Midlands, you have got a narrow window. Snow is falling right now over higher ground at 250 to 300 meters elevation. At 500 meters plus, you could see 5 to 15 centimeters. But here is what changes everything. By early tomorrow morning, this turns to rain. You have got maybe 5 to 6 hours of wintry conditions left. Manchester, Leeds, Sheffield, listen carefully. The Pennines are in a snow warning right now. It expires tomorrow morning, but another band of heavy precipitation is coming right behind it. Mid-morning tomorrow, you will see snow again before it transitions to rain by Friday afternoon. For Bristol, Cardiff, and southwest England, you are in a rain warning until 9 p.m. tomorrow. The issue is not just the 20 to 30 millimeters you are getting. Some spots could see 40 to 50 millimeters. With the ground this saturated, we are talking serious flood risk. Belfast and Northern Ireland, your warning runs until midnight tomorrow. 10 to 20 millimeters is the baseline, but some areas could push toward 40 or 50 millimeters. Again, it is the saturation that makes this dangerous. Now, here is something the other forecasts are missing. Comment below where you live, and I will give you a personalized forecast for your exact area in the replies. Scotland, you are in a unique position. Aberdeen and the East Coast are getting pounded with rain coming in from the east. It is going to be soggy, and that rain spreads to western areas as well. Temperatures are ranging from 5 to 8 degrees Celsius in the north. The far northwest of Scotland, you are the lucky ones. You will see the driest and brightest weather, similar to yesterday. But wait until you hear what happens Friday night. This is where it gets interesting. Friday evening brings a drier slot across central and eastern England. You might even see some late sunshine. Do not be fooled. Through Friday night into Saturday morning, more wet and windy weather slams into the southwest. Northern Ireland stays wet at times. Much of Scotland, particularly southern and eastern parts, will see rain pushing through. Here is the game changer. Temperatures Friday night are going to be higher across the north than last night. Any frost is confined just to the top of the Scottish mountains. Further south, it stays pretty mild, especially for early February, but that is because of the blustery, wet, cloudy weather toward the southwest. Saturday, and this is important, actually looks slightly drier for some places. Northern Ireland, parts of northern England down the eastern side, you get a brief respite. But the southwest, still hammered with very wet weather. And remember, the ground is completely saturated. We could see significant issues. All the while, Scotland continues to see rain from the east. Aberdeen, you are not getting a break. Temperatures Saturday range from 5 to 8 degrees Celsius in the north, 10 to 12, maybe 13 degrees Celsius in the south. But those strong blustery winds in both the southwest and northeast will make it feel much colder than the numbers suggest. Now, let me address the question everyone is asking. When does this pattern break? The short answer is it does not for a while. Sunday brings more rain pushing through, not much sunshine, maybe a few glimmers here and there. Into next week, the cloudy and wet theme continues. We could see more flood issues, temperatures stay about average for the time of year, but with all that cloud and rain, it will feel well below average. But here is the plot twist nobody is talking about. At minute 5, I promised you something. Here it is. Into next week, we are turning colder. Not everywhere, not all at once, but we are looking at cold air digging in from the north and northeast. This cold air could be more widespread than what we have seen this week, and it could be colder. That means wintry conditions could push down to lower elevations, especially further north, but maybe even further south as well. The models have been back and forth with this cold air mass. It is really on a knife edge. but many of today's model runs are showing potentially significant marginal snow events into next week and into the middle third of February. Let me be crystal clear, this is not a beast from the east. This is not the bitterly cold spell we saw at the start of January. But we could see conditions conducive for snow at times over the next week to 10 days. And there could be considerable snow in some areas. Here is exactly what that looks like, city by city. London and the southeast, you are currently sitting at 10 to 11 degrees Celsius. Into Friday, you stay mild at 10 to 12 degrees. Saturday drops slightly to 8 to 10 degrees, feeling colder under the rain and cloud. Sunday, similar temperatures. Into Monday, mid to high single digits. Tuesday, maybe 10 or 12 degrees. So you are looking at average to slightly above average temperatures. But then late next week, around 7 to 8 days from now, cold northerly winds could push in. Temperatures could drop to 2 or 3 degrees Celsius in the south. That is when the snow risk increases, even for you. Manchester, Birmingham, Leeds, Sheffield, you are very cold right now in the north, close to freezing. Into Friday, milder air digs in. You will see 8 to 10 degrees. Saturday, you stay chilly, 8 to 10 degrees. Sunday and Monday, mid-single digits. But late next week, you are prime territory for snow. With northerly winds and temperatures dropping to freezing or below, you could see several days of wintry conditions. Glasgow, Edinburgh, Aberdeen, you are experiencing the cold right now. Friday brings milder air, pushing you into the mid-single digits, no longer close to freezing. Saturday and Sunday, similar, around 5 to 8 degrees. But you are the most vulnerable to the cold push next week. Northern areas could see temperatures well below average, close to freezing, with frosts. And yes, snow is likely, especially over higher ground, but possibly lower elevations too. Belfast, you are getting pummeled with rain right now. Into Friday, you turn milder at 8 to 10 degrees. Saturday stays similar. But late next week, you are right in the firing line for colder air and potential snow events. Now, do not miss this next part. This is critical. The pattern we are looking at next week is not a classic bitterly cold blocked pattern. It is more mobile. There is a lot more low pressure around, a lot more milder air masses nearby. But the cold air could win out for at least some portion of next week into the following week. What does that mean in plain English? It means we could see temperatures yo-yoing 2 or 3 degrees Celsius one day, 9 or 10 degrees the next. And in those transitions, we could see heavy rain, heavy precipitation, and heavy snow. It is most likely in northern areas close to the colder air sources and over higher ground, but not exclusively. Here is the timing breakdown for next week. Monday and Tuesday look pretty horrible. Lots of rain, showers peppered throughout. Wednesday into Thursday, this is when we could see the cold air really dig in. Cold northerly winds arrive around 7 to 8 days from now. This could bring proper cold air for the north and even temporarily for the south. We could see some wintry conditions, maybe a bit of snow for a few days. Temperatures could drop well below average. Northern areas could see temperatures close to freezing. With frosts elsewhere, this could last 4 to 5 days before it breaks down. Now, here is something that will blow your mind. All the major models, the GFS, the ECMWF, they are all showing this cold push. But they disagree on intensity and duration. The GFS is one of the colder runs, showing cold air winning out for at least some portion of next week. The ECMWF shows a bit more of a locked-in colder spell, with colder air masses for a period of time next week, maybe 4 to 5 days. But here is the key. Milder air masses are very close by. So we could see this swinging back and forth a lot in the coming days. It is going to be a proper battle next week between cold and mild air. We thought we could see battles like this earlier this week and last week, but they never really came off. Yes, we have had a bit of snow around, but nothing too unusual for Northern Hills. We saw a bit of Midlands snow on Monday, but not a real proper battle like the snow event earlier in January, where we saw proper heavy snowfall in parts of the Midlands. What could occur next week could resemble that more, with more intense cold air masses getting involved. We could see those dramatic transitions. Heavy snowfall in some areas, nothing a few tens of miles away. That is a true battle between cold and milder sectors. Let me give you the exact snow potential by region. Northern Scotland, the Highlands, you could see significant accumulations over higher ground, potentially 10 to 20 centimetres over several days, if the cold air locks in. Central Scotland, Edinburgh, Glasgow area, you could see several centimetres at times, especially overnight when temperatures drop. Northern England, the Pennines, Lake District, you are looking at the highest snow potential outside of Scotland. Could be 5 to 15 centimetres over higher ground, with lighter accumulations possible down to 200 to 300 metres elevation. The Midlands, this is where it gets marginal. Birmingham, Nottingham, Leicester, you could see some snow, but it would likely be brief and transitional. A few centimetres possible if timing aligns perfectly, but rain is more likely overall. Wales, similar to the Midlands. Higher elevations, Snowdonia, the Brecon Beacons, could see some accumulation. Lower elevations, mostly rain, with perhaps some wet snow at times. Southwest England, you are least likely to see snow. But, and here is the twist, if the cold air digs far enough south at the right time, even you could see a few flakes. Now, what should you actually do with this information? First, if you live in flood-prone areas, especially southwest England, Wales, Northern Ireland, and parts of northwest England, take flood warnings seriously over the next 48 hours. Move vehicles to higher ground if possible. Have sandbags ready. Know your evacuation routes. Second, if you live in northern areas or higher elevations, prepare for potential snow next week. This is not panic buying territory, but make sure you have supplies in case you get snowed in for a day or two. Check your heating is working. Have a torch and batteries ready in case of power cuts. Third, travel disruption is likely. Friday could be particularly bad for the morning commute in many areas. Next week, if the snow materializes, we could see road closures and train cancellations, especially in northern areas. Fourth, stay updated. This is a rapidly evolving situation. The models are still bouncing around with the exact track and intensity of next week as cold push. Check back daily for updates. Now remember to comment below where you live. I will give you a personalized forecast in the replies. Are you in London, Manchester, Glasgow? Let me know, and I will tell you exactly what to expect. Before we wrap up, let me give you one more crucial piece of information. The most reliable time frame is the next 5 days. Everything I have told you about through Sunday is high confidence. The cold push next week, that is medium confidence. It is likely to happen in some form, but the exact timing, intensity, and how far south it gets is still uncertain. What we know for certain is this. Over the next week to 10 days, we are looking at an incredibly unsettled, mixed pattern. Not a lot of dry weather, lots of precipitation, and increasing chances of snow, especially in northern areas and over higher ground. This is not the sustained cold we saw end of December through January, where for about 3 weeks we did not get above 6 or 7 degrees Celsius and most days saw frost. We are not seeing that, but we could see temperatures swinging wildly, and in those swings, significant weather events. Here is what is coming in the next video. I'm going to break down the hour-by-hour forecast for Monday and Tuesday next week when that first major precipitation band arrives. I'm going to show you exactly which areas are most at risk for snow, which areas will see rain, and where the battle line sits. I am also going to reveal what the extended models are showing for the second half of February, because here is something I have not mentioned yet. After this active period, there are hints, just hints, that we could see a pattern shift toward the end of the month. Could we finally see some drier, more settled weather, or are we in for more of the same? You will have to watch the next video to find out. But I will give you one teaser. The jet stream pattern late February looks very different from what we are seeing now, and that could mean big changes. So make sure you are subscribed, turn on notifications, because this is a weather pattern you do not want to miss updates on. We could be looking at some of the most dramatic weather Britain has seen all winter. One final thought. Some of you might be wondering, why all this rain? Why this unsettled pattern? Here is the science. We have got very cold air masses to our north and east. We have got a very active jet stream. When these two things combine, you get exactly what we are seeing. Low pressure after low pressure moving up from the south, colliding with cold air, producing huge amounts of precipitation. It is not terribly unusual for this time of year, but we have not really seen a pattern like this throughout winter so far. We have had cold spells, we have had mild spells, but this constant barrage of precipitation with cold and mild air battling, that is new for this winter. And it is going to make the next week to 10 days absolutely fascinating from a weather perspective. Challenging if you have to be out in it, yes, but fascinating. Remember, comment your location below. I read every single comment and I will get back to you with your specific forecast. Whether you are in a tiny village in Scotland or right in central London, I want to help you prepare for what is coming. Stay safe out there. Keep your raincoat handy. And if you are in northern areas, you might want to dig out the snow shovel just in case. The next 10 days